Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again. What's going on, guys? Hope you guys had a great weekend, man. It's almost the New Year's, man. You guys ready for this? Oh, my God. For people like me, like who's getting older, it's like another year. Oh, my God. I'm about to be 41. Oh, God. My life is over. I'm about to be 41. Oh, God. For the rest of us, for my kids, it's like, yeah, finally I'm getting older. My youngest, he's 6 years old. My oldest, she's turning 18 next year. So this year she turns 17. Like, kids love these New Years. For us, it's like, oh, my God. Another year, another dollar, another bill. That's what we're thinking, right? It's great that we have family. It's great that we're here with each other. We had a great breakout year for this show. I'm so grateful for this audience, for you guys, and I'm so happy to be here. You know, we're going to be talking a very heavy topic. I'm excited that I'm here with you guys, that it's almost the new year, and that we've shared so much with each other. You guys have shared so much with me. I've shared so much with you. More than I've ever shared in my YouTube career, I've shared with you guys here as we do True Crime with Strategic. And then you guys have shared so much with me. So many people share with me their personal stories, their lifelong stories with their families, you know, their traumas, etc. It's definitely been a whirlwind year, and I thank you guys. And this year alone, we gained 30,000 subs, 30,000 subs almost. We gained in this year alone. And that's huge, man. That's really, really, really huge. And well, you know what? 30,000 subs doing True Crime with Strategic. If we really want to do the numbers, I probably gained like close to 60 or 70,000 subs in this year in total. But some of those subs is when I was doing my political stuff. Now, just with True Crime and Strategic, as we only talk true crime here for the most part, almost 30,000 subs, man. That's huge, man. And I really appreciate you guys for supporting me on this journey. I'm so happy to be here. And most importantly, I'm so happy that I was able to help, because I'm not the only one, obviously, but help bring awareness to the victims. And that's the most important thing, that we brought awareness to the victims, and that for some of you, I was able to explain things that you may not have understood because you're not in law enforcement. You may be an excellent engineer, you may be the best homemaker, you may be the best doctor or even lawyer, but you're not a cop. And I'm happy that I was able to explain things from a cop's perspective for some of you guys, from a detective's perspective for some of you. And I'm so happy that I've been able to be a forceful voice, in my opinion at least, for the victims, to bring justice to the victims, to be a voice to the voiceless. So once again, we're here to do just that, to be a voice for the voiceless. We're talking about Madeline Soto again. And one reason why I wanted to talk about her is Reddit. And I kind of got a love-hate relationship with Reddit, because Reddit is a place that has a lot of really intelligent people. A lot of very thoughtful people who can help you with almost anything. But it's also a place where a lot of bad people are. We covered earlier on, when we spoke about this case, when we covered the post that Stephen Stearns would make on Reddit. He was a very, very prolific Redditor. Well, guess what? He's a part of that community, or was at least. So that shows you, when you go on Reddit, you can meet really awesome people, but you can also meet some really awful people. Right? I even had my own personal issues with Reddit, where, you know, I had a bona fide sex offender by the name of H Ghost disparaging me on Reddit. And a lot of good people went along with him, because people are kind of like drawn to negativity, like a moth to a bright light. And some of those people, when they found out that he was a sex offender, reached out to me. I was like, oh my God, I don't even know why I hated you. I hated you because this guy told me to hate you. And, you know, now I feel so bad because I was being led by a sex offender, you know, which is horrible, right? But it just shows you the type of people who, you know, could possibly find their way to Reddit. So it's a love-hate for me for Reddit, because I see the best that could come out of Reddit and also see the worst. And as a professional people observer, that's what I do for a living. I'm a people watcher. You know, it breaks my heart that some people allow themselves to lose themselves into tribalism, you know, just because something feels good, you know, and the anonymity of the internet brings the worst out of us, right? But there are good things on Reddit. And this is one of those good things on Reddit. This is one of those opportunities where there are people out there who are trying to do God's work, trying to do the work of justice and get to the bottom of cases just like this. And I want to give a big shout out to those people because we're going to be using their work. And I've received an email from an individual, and I don't say people's names when they send me emails because many times people set up their emails with their real name. So you might think it's an alias, but it's not. And then you'll say, hey, big shout out to Suzanne. I'm making a name up, obviously. And you just gave Suzanne's name out to the world. And now everybody knows who Suzanne is, right? And then there's bad people who might try and reach out and harass Suzanne. So I got an email from a person, and that person gave me a ton of information on the timeline with Jennifer Soto. And then I went on, I actually follow a YouTube Reddit, that's primarily being run by this guy. Let me go ahead and bring it over here, just so you guys see. We'll come back to it, but I want to just show you. Impossible Spray 643. I even heard Plunder called him out before. I was watching it before Plunder called him out. It doesn't matter. If Plunder put me on. But no, I was watching this person before Plunder called him out. But even Plunder showed love to this person. And obviously she's following this person too. And they always post very thoughtful and insightful things on the Madeline Soto case. And like one time I felt bad because like I covered a angle that I've been brewing for like weeks. Like, I'm going to talk about this, but I didn't have time. And then I talked about it, and I saw that they had talked about it too. I was like, oh man, I hope this person don't think that I just copied off of them and didn't give them any credit. We all can't have the same ideas sometimes, but because that has happened on Reddit too. Like I've covered something and people on Reddit were like, oh my God, Strategic took our idea, didn't even give us credit. Whoa, man, I give everybody credit if I know that you deserve the credit, come on. But there's a lot of characters on Reddit. So you gotta be careful with these folks. But this person's doing a great job. They're doing a great job, and I follow them, and I think they're really insightful. I love the way that they think and the investigative mind that they have and they possess, whether they are a bona fide detective or investigator, retired or active or not, just a concerned citizen. I think they're more probably close to just a concerned citizen. They have a really good investigative mind, and I like it. And I want to showcase some of their work. And what the person sent me, and I'm going to be very careful here because I don't know. The person on the email sent me this material verbatim, and then they also sent me their own breakdown, which has similar writing to this person. So I don't know if the person who emailed me is one and the same with Impossible Spray 643. And if they're not, I apologize. I don't want to presume. I don't want anybody to believe that Impossible Spray is reaching out to me and, oh, he's got, maybe. No, I don't know. I really don't know. But I just know that these people are sending me the same information. And it seems like they're written the same, whatever. But the information is largely credible. I'm trying to look into a lot of it, and it's checking out, man. So I'm going to showcase this for you guys, and we'll put it out there, and we'll talk about it. All right. So let me bring it back to me. We'll go to the comment section real quick, and then we'll start the show. And maybe we'll take the call-in show. This is like probably the last live show that we're going to do this year. We got some special planned for you guys for the new year, to bring the new year right. So I hope you guys enjoy that. But this will probably be my last live show that I'm going to do for the year. So we'll do a call-in show after this and give you guys the opportunity to interact, definitely, before we finish out the year together with the special event that we have. But that's going to be a pre-recorded kind of thing. So appreciate you guys. All right, let's go to the comment section real quick and just show some love. One thing for the new year, somebody's got to tell me how to be able to put my comment section on the screen here so that you guys can see the comment section as well. I don't know how to do that. Sucks too. But I'd love for you guys to be able to see the comment section on my screen as I'm live streaming. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work that way. Maybe I could do it this way. I think there's a way for me to undock this. Pop up the chat. Okay. I think we found something out. Close this up. Put this here. Okay. I think we found a way to kind of do it, but it's not how I want it to be done, but it's doable. It's doable. So you guys can see that right there. It's doable, but it's not how I want it. I want it to be like transparent beside me, but this will work for now. So big shout out. Let's see here. So we got Karen Bennett is in the building. What's happening? Jen Finn, Tori's in the building. Luna's in the building. Thank you for coming through and supporting the channel. Irene Pinky's in the building. Thank you. Shake Maker, Gary, or Jerry rather. Holly Simmons. You guys are great, man. We got a big turnout today. Nina Drew's in the building. Internet Girls in the building. Thank you so much. These are members. Most of them I'm naming are members, but I'm naming other people as well. Patsy Figuring It Out is in the building. Susan's in the building. And I said the name Susan earlier. This is not the Susan I'm talking about. This is a very common name. A Obsidian's in the building, a frequent supporter of the channel. We do appreciate you, A Obsidian. Tori's in the building. Juliana's in the building. Venny, Foxy Amazon's in the building. We just did a members live before we came over here to do the real live. And so a lot of these folks were just live with me for like an hour with the members only live. So make sure you become a member of Strategic Eye Show. Maybe you get lucky and somebody gifts you one, but make sure you become a member because guess what? We have a lot of fun in the membership section. We have a lot of fun in the Patreon section as well. So make sure you join the Patreon and the membership, or one or the other, if you can. Show that love because you definitely get a bang for your buck. Let's keep going. Erica B is in the building, moderator for the show. I don't think we're going to have Aki today, guys. So Erica B is going to be doing her thing. I'll also be moderating as well. But definitely, Aki is doing a training. You guys didn't know she's in law enforcement. Ooh. So she's doing a little training, doing her thing. So we do appreciate her and all the things that she does for the channel. Debbie Gazzardo is a 2-month member of the Strategic Eye Show. We appreciate you, Debbie. Thank you for supporting the channel in the way that you do. Jamie Pease is a 2-month member as well. You guys are showing out and showing off today, and I appreciate that. Let everybody know you guys are members for the long term, man. We do appreciate you guys for showing that love. We appreciate you guys are great. Let's keep going. All right, let's get the show started, man. Let's get the show started. Last comment, Jen Fist says, yeah, he's one of the only YouTubers I know who do lots of member shows I like. All right, so you heard it from the member's mouth. You heard it from a member's mouth. I don't have a lot of memberships. I'm not a part of a lot of memberships at all. In fact, I'm not a part of any memberships. I am a part of some creators' Patreons. Namely, I'm a part of Plunder's Patreon. I find that very, 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 very probative Patreon to be a member of. So big shout out to Plunder. I hope that you are using my money wisely. I'm just joking. I'm joking. I'm being a douche. But yeah, big shout out to Plunder. Go join her. Like, guys, if you want really good court information, videos, body-worn cameras, all that good stuff, please go to Plunder's Patreon. Show her some love. I'm not getting a cut out of it. I'm pushing it because I'm finding so much value from it. So please do support Plunder because it's worth it, right? But Jen said it. She's got a lot of memberships. She's a part of a lot of different memberships, and she said it. Listen, Strategic puts out a lot of members content. I do. Big shout out to Elizabeth Toller with a 1-month membership. Thank you, Elizabeth. Juliana, 2-month membership. Thank you so much. And Leslie just upgraded her membership to the Detective Squad. Welcome to the squad, baby. You are a part of an elite group of people. I appreciate you. And Leslie just gave a 5-gift membership to 5 lucky people. So please make sure that you are saying thank you to Leslie. All right, let me dock this back over here because we're about to start the show. Oh man, I don't even know. Is this gonna work? Okay, here we go. Let's get this out of here. All right, and let's see here. Let me just do this on the side. I apologize, guys. I have to find a way to redock this. All right. It's not going to work. Fucked up. Sorry. And it just cursed. All right. Fixed it. Good. All right. All right. Let's get this party started. Perfect. All right. So, Jen Soto's timeline, ladies and gentlemen. Jen Soto's timeline, guys. Her timeline is so off, I don't know how she's not arrested. I don't know how Jennifer Soto has not been arrested with how off her timeline is. Based off of her timeline, based off of the efforts of these fine people using information that all of us have access to if we have the time to actually utilize it. Based on, and you know who had time to do that, ladies and gentlemen? You know who was paid to utilize their time to figure out this timeline? The Kissimmee Police Department. See, I got an excuse for not having time to go through this timeline the way that Impossible Spray went through this timeline and other people have gone through this timeline. I got a day job. A day job that I get paid to go through other victims' timelines. I'm being paid to put 100% of my energies on my cases. This is my hobby. This is my spare time. But the Kissimmee Police Department, they got paid by the taxpayers of America. Because remember, every police force in the United States of America gets federal grants. So all of us pay for every single police force in America. The Kissimmee Police Department got paid by all of us, especially the citizens of Florida, to go through this timeline. And guess what? Hopefully they have the information we have. Hopefully they did the work that we're doing. But why hasn't Jen Soto been charged? Why hasn't Jen Soto been charged, considering the information that's out there, the lies that were told, allegedly, by Jen Soto? Jen Soto told us her narrative. Jen Soto told us her story. We did not interrupt her. When I say us, I mean the people. We are the people. Like in the state of New York, when you're charged with a crime, it says the people of New York versus John Doe. I love that. Not every state says that. But I love that New York State does that. The people of New York. Your crime was not against Sally or Susan or Sue. Your crime was against the people. Jen Soto had the opportunity to tell us, the people, her timeline. She could have said, I'm not sure. She could have said, let me get back to you. She could have said, let me check my phone. She could have said, approximately. No, Jen Soto gave us times. She gave us her narrative. And when you look into this narrative, you find out it's lacking. It's left us wanting. It appears to be deception, misdirection, and in my opinion, which means nothing more than what you value it for, lies. Lies. So let's walk through that with the help of these smart people in Reddit who put together this timeline and the person who emailed me an even more broken down timeline. Let's go through it and let's see, are you lying to us, Jen Soto? Why is your story not matching up with reality? I'm going to play a little bit of her interview. We're not going to spend here for an hour listening to an interview. We've all listened to this before, and if you haven't listened to it before, you'll know where to go find it. I'll definitely try and drop the link, but I'm be working on the other project that I'm dropping for you guys for the New Year's. So if I have time, or Aki has time later, we'll drop the link so you guys can go listen to the interviews for yourself. Just a little smidgen of her interview to get a little taste of how she sounds when she talks. This is not her most recent interview this was her most recent interview, excuse me. What I meant to say is that there are other interviews that she gave that are even more raw. Interviews on the night that it happened. Maybe we'll play a little bit of that too. And then I want to read for you guys a breakdown of how her story is so inconsistent, ladies and gentlemen. How her story just doesn't make sense. Let's keep going.
That morning.
Monday morning. So the last time you would have been Sunday evening?
Sunday.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
You're fine.
I want to see her.
Take a minute. Okay? While you take a minute, I was going to ask you earlier, has anybody reached out to you during the time that you've been investigating this?
First of all, they did her dirty. They gave her like paper towel and emphasis on the paper. Like that looked like a roll of printer paper. That doesn't even look like regular paper, like paper towel. Like that is hard paper. But let's keep going.
So not add anything else? Negative, positive, neutral?
My best friends have all been in contact with me just to try to help me. There's like, setting up Facebook groups, flyers,
No negative interactions with the public or anything? Nobody's like reached out with tips or accusations or anything like that?
Not that I've seen. I've been avoiding social media because my family's telling me to not go on.
would you be okay with our digital people looking at your phone to verify there's no stuff coming into socials, texts, things like that?
That's fine.
Do you have the phone?
Yeah.
What they'll do is they'll plug it in, they'll do a forensic download of it so they have the data. That way they can go through it and say, we did receive things, we didn't receive things, here's the communications in and out, things like that, so we can verify that for you.
That's fine.
You have a password on it?
030288.
030288.
All right, let me just go ahead and play this for you, a little bit of this right here.
11:16 hours for OCSO case 24-011313. Can you state your full name?
Jennifer Soto.
All right, Jennifer. So I'm here to talk.
With the previous one, I thought I had gotten to the point where she started talking about her timeline, but I don't want us to just be listening for like 1,000 minutes for her to get to the point. In this one, she's going to get to the timeline a little bit quicker. But I wanted to get you that one to hear her timeline a little bit later. Maybe we'll come back to that. But you guys know I like my show to flow, So I thought I had the timeline and we was going to jump right into it and listen to her talk about her timeline. Wasn't working out. This one, she's going to jump right into the timeline. So let's listen to this a little bit.
Talk to you today. We're going to talk about, and you're familiar with kind of why we're talking right now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me when is the last time you were with someone?
Saw her, I'm going to say Sunday night.
Okay.
I heard her one day getting ready for school.
So you last saw her Sunday night about what time?
I would say 11 p.m. before she went to bed.
And you were here at home?
Yeah.
Gotcha. And where did she go to bed? Was she in her room, your room, or something else?
She actually slept upstairs with, we have a guest bedroom. We were all going to sleep together in the same bed, but I needed some good sleep.
We were all going to sleep together in the same bed. I didn't even notice that till now, and I've listened to this 1,000 times. Another instance where they were going to sleep in the same bed, which is so weird and odd considering that Maddie had a makeshift room in the living room, and there was a spare room in bedroom number 4. Now, somebody asked a quick question. You guys know I like to answer these law enforcement questions because it's what I'm here for, and it's my expertise. Who was it? Was it Tina? The chat is moving, so I might have missed it. Let me see. Okay, so Slim Hauser says, as strategic, would those paper towels give Ellie a cleaner DNA sample versus a tissue? Now, we would never try and use, in this circumstance, a tissue as an abandonment sample. That's what it's called. It's called an abandonment sample when you get DNA off of something that somebody leaves or behind or uses and discards. In a case like this, we would simply tell the mother, hey, listen, there's a lot of DNA that's involved in this case. Your boyfriend, your daughter, all the other people that live in the house, we need to differentiate between whose DNA is what. So we'd like to ask you for a voluntary sample. And we purposely ask her to give a voluntary sample because it would also show her level of cooperation and truthfulness. Because if she has nothing to hide, she'd say, sure. And then we just do a buccal swab in the cheek like they do normally for any type of DNA test. And you would want to see that because if she says, no, I don't want to give you a DNA sample, then now you can look for a much more better abandonment sample, which I'm not going to say because bad guys watch these things and then they'll be on the lookout for those kind of things. But you could also just go get a court order. And it's very easy. It's not easy. They still have to follow the Fourth Amendment, right? But it's very easy for a DA in a case like this that involves sexual abuse and murder to get a judge to sign off on a search warrant, which is what you need, a search warrant to obtain a DNA sample from a suspect or somebody who is involved in a crime. Like I would say at this point, Jen Soto could possibly be construed as a suspect and they would be able to get it from a judge. But no, we would never use, unless it was like no other choice, we'd never choose a paper towel or a tissue as an abandonment sample for a DNA sample. We just ask for it. And whether it's the perp or an involved individual like Jen Soto, we would just get a court to get us a search warrant to actually just get a sample. We'd take them to the doctor and make them give it to us. All right, let's keep going.
And I got a new job recently. I haven't been well rested. I needed some sleep. So I asked, hey, can you guys go to the guest bedroom upstairs? I knew he was going to get her ready. And
Sorry. Okay, so, you needed some good sleep. So was it about 11 o'clock?
Yeah. I sent them upstairs, and I went to bed.
Okay. And that was about 11?
Yeah.
And do you guys normally all sleep together? Because I know you said that she sleeps in your room with you typically, right?
She sleeps with me typically. Typically when he comes into town, because he lives with his parents in Northport, Florida. Mm-hmm. When he comes to town, he'll sleep in the guest bedroom.
Okay. And Stefan is the one you're referring to, right?
Yeah, Stefan Stearns.
Stefan. How often does he stay here?
Oh, he moved away back in December, so I'm going to say he's visited at least 2 to 3 times since then.
Okay. Why did he move away?
He was offered his dad had offered him a job, but it fell through.
Oh.
So now we're trying to get him back here.
And he just visits?
Yeah.
When he visits, does he stay for like hours, days, weeks?
I would say days. This time we had planned on him staying a whole week because I was going through training at work. So I wanted him to be here to help me with the dog, help me with the training.
Okay, so this time he was planning to stay for a week. How long has he been here?
I'm over here playing with this thing, but I can't stop the video while that is up there. It just doesn't work that way. But the bottom line is she lied already. You know, she went with that narrative. We already went through this, and these are lies that's known, but it just irks me, you know, that she lied and said that he moved back to the parents' house because he had a job opportunity. There's no job opportunity. He moved back there because the father no longer wanted to pay his rent, and she was done with him. She didn't want to be in a relationship with him. But I don't even believe that, because later on she talks about trying to move him back. So what changed between December and February? Like, you wanted him to leave because you no longer wanted to be in a relationship with him, and his father no longer wanted to pay his rent. But at the same time, when you're talking to the cops in March, you're saying, hey, we were working on moving him back so that we can now be like in this sister husband relationship, you know, like this friendship relationship where sister wives kind of thing, where we're not having sex, we're not intimate, we're seeing different people, but we're raising Maddie together. We're raising Maddie together. That's what her final statement was on the state of her relationship with Stefan Stearns. Her final statement was, we're trying to move him back so that we could raise Maddie together in a friendship relationship. Which one is it? Because right now you're telling the cops that he moved back for a job opportunity, when in all actuality we know that that's not why he moved back. He moved back, he didn't want to have sex with him. You moved back because you no longer thought that he was a relationship material. You moved back because his father no longer wanted to pay the rent for him because the family was going through financial issues. And if you're not attracted to somebody, you don't want to have sex with them, and you think that they're not a good partner, what makes them, now forget about the sex part. I get that, right? Let's forget about the sex part. Forget about that part. What makes them now a good person to co-parent with? Well, I don't even want to say co-parent because he wasn't a parent of Maddie, but to assist and help raising your daughter. If he doesn't have the qualities to be a good partner, what makes him have the qualities to be a live-in step-parent without the emotional attachment? Does that make any sense to you guys? I've never heard of that before. I've never heard of that. You know, I get it with somebody that you actually had the child with, that's like the biological father of the child. I get that, because that person is a part of that child, and that child deserves to have that person's stories and heritage and lineage passed through them. So you got a co-parent, because that child belongs half to that other person. But this is a random stranger from the street that you met, you know, that you was with for a while. Let me not frame it like that. He's not a random stranger. They've been together for a long time, but that's not her biological father. So if he's not good enough to be your partner, why is he good enough to be your child's partner? I don't know. Let's keep going. But that's a lie. She's already deceiving the cops. So let's keep going.
Or when did he arrive, rather, this time?
I can't remember if he arrived Saturday or Sunday morning.
Okay, that's fine. Sometime this weekend?
Yeah.
So that was last night around 11. And so about what time did you hear her on Monday morning?
I heard everyone getting ready around, I'm going to say 7:30, 8 o'clock.
And was it just Steph? Who else lives here?
I have roommates.
Okay.
I have Angelica Negro, who's one roommate, and then Natalie Rosero.
Okay. And you just heard all of them, or did you hear anyone in specific?
No, I just heard, if anything, Stefan came and woke me up accidentally because he was trying to let the dog out.
Mm-hmm.
And the dog gets really nervous sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to help him with that, get him on his leash. But he got him situated and took him for a walk.
Okay. Did you hear around 7 or 8?
I heard noises in the kitchen, but I'm not sure,
Not sure who it was.
All right, so we go ahead and fast forward just a little bit. I mean, they're getting there. They're getting there, but we've heard a lot of this. So I want to just fast forward a little bit so we can kind of get to the school part, because that's where her story breaks down. And so we're going to be focusing on the moment where Maddie goes missing and the things that Jen said that she did that just don't seem to add up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's keep
Gotcha. And so I think you had said the previous night, you and Stefan had agreed that he was going to get and take her in the morning? Okay.
And they were going to stop at McDonald's and get breakfast, but she changed her mind last minute and did not want McDonald's.
Okay. How'd you find that out?
When did I find that out? When Stefan called me around 10:18 in the morning, I had stepped out to go get blood work done, and he had just let me know that he just got back home from running a few errands, and that I asked, did you guys ever just stop at McDonald's? And he said no, she changed her mind. He tried convincing her a few times, but she did not want McDonald's anymore.
At what time did you leave the house yesterday in the morning? Or what time did you step out, rather?
I'm going to say around 9:30.
Had
Stefan returned at all?
No.
So you were...
This whole never really, I don't know, it never really sat well with me. Maybe I'm like that much farther removed from the projects that like I'm bougie now. It never sat well with me that going to McDonald's would be a big deal. Like they made it, and maybe, and listen, I'm just saying this could be a cultural thing, could be an economic thing, but like the selling of how important this McDonald's thing just never sat well with me, because it's like, McDonald's, who freaking cares? All right, they got the best hotcakes on the planet. The most underrated thing on the McDonald's menu is their hotcakes. Those little flapjacks are delicious. And that extra sweet syrup that they put on us when I don't eat it no more, because, I watch my diet and sugar is the devil. That's how I lost all this weight. I leave sugar alone, right? You say I got water here. Sugar's the devil. I'm be consuming a lot of sugar tomorrow night because I'm going to make sure I get some nice alcohol to bring in the New Year's, right? But it never sat well with me that they played up this whole McDonald's thing like it was so special. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just telling you, it just didn't really make sense. Like, I'm not saying it's about money, because for me, something special would be going to a diner, and a diner is probably cheaper than going to McDonald's at this point in the game. You could go get home-cooked eggs with home fries and a waffle for like $10, $12 at a diner. And if you get the same thing at McDonald's, you're paying $15 for one person. So it's not about, oh, this is brokey food, and I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that McDonald's is not a big deal, to me at least, and it just doesn't sit right that they're trying to sell it so much that it would be a big deal for Maddie. Maddie is 13 years old. You think she's impressed by McDonald's? She's not impressed by McDonald's. that you would wake her up extra early for her to go to McDonald's? We're going to get you up extra early. What little kid wants to get up extra early? What teenager will voluntarily say, yeah, wake me up 2 hours earlier than I normally need to get up so we could go get some McDonald's hotcakes? So we could get a McMuffin? A sausage egg McMuffin? Let's be serious here. But they've been trying to sell that to us this whole time that, oh, the McDonald's was so special. We all know it's a lie now. We know that Maddie was already dead. But it just shows you how ridiculous their story really, really was. But let's keep going.
They're from, just so I have my time.
You know what? Lorraine just said it. And I think this is probably why. Because these guys think they're the smartest people on the planet. They think they're smarter than us. Maybe not her, but Stephen Stern certainly does. And in my opinion, I have no evidence of this. There's no evidence that proves this. But in my opinion, when he sat down with this chick, yeah, I called her a chick. You guys know I respect women, but I don't necessarily like her. When he sat down with this chick and put his story together with her, that's my opinion, I have no evidence of it, I think he thought what Lorraine said. I'm going to say McDonald's because I had to go past McDonald's, and it made sense. That's what I think he's going to say. I had to go past McDonald's, and so that would explain why I woke up so early. I was moving around early. It'll explain why they will catch me on cameras moving around early, and I will have to go past that McDonald's area. So I'm going to say that we wanted to go eat McDonald's for something special, and he gave her that story, and she agreed, I'm going to cover you, in my opinion. I'm going to cover you because I think they got the wrong guy, so we should come up with an outlandish story and alibi so that they don't think you did anything wrong. That's what I think happened, but let's keep going.
It's kind of right. So you woke up around 7 or 8. You saw Stefan, because you helped him with the dog because he was letting the dog out, right?
Yeah.
And then did you go back to sleep, or were you just kind of in the room?
I laid back down and went back to sleep.
Okay. And then do you remember what time you woke up after that?
I believe I set my alarm for 9 a.m.
Gotcha. So it would have been around 9 a.m. that you woke up. And in that time, you didn't see Stefan return at all? Okay. You left around 9:30, and then Stefan called you around 10 to say he got home?
Yeah.
Cool. Got it.
All right, so let's see if I can fast forward just a little bit more. Somebody said their 5-year-old loves McDonald's. My 6-year-old loves McDonald's, but they're 5 and he's 6. And somebody hit a nail in the coffin. They said these Gen Z kids don't find McDonald's special, Starbucks or Panera. That's it. My 13-year-old, you can't say McDonald's. She's like, I don't eat that. It's not healthy, Dad. She wants Panera. In fact, thanks for putting that in my head because I think they're still sleeping. I don't know why they're like knocked out, but when they get up, I'm gonna take my daughter to Panera, my youngest, because she loves Panera. So I'm gonna treat her with that. Because I was thinking about going to an Italian restaurant. It's like this Italian deli, not restaurant, that serves amazing sandwiches and food and stuff like that, hot food. I'm gonna take her there in town, but instead I'm gonna take her to Panera because she loves Panera and I love Panera too. So we're gonna do Panera. But that's what they want. Because guess what? She's 13 and she's an athlete and all this stuff. She wants to get her salad and her half a sandwich that's perfectly measured with the calories and all this extra stuff. These kids are much more sophisticated than us. When I was young, McDonald's was a treat too. I'm not young anymore. Times change. When I was young, we didn't have the internet. All right. When we did get the internet, I was meeting people off the internet. I was meeting girls, dating girls off the internet without no picture. Picture that now. You know what I mean? Nobody had pictures back then. We had AOL. It was like ASL, age/sex/location. That was the greeting you gave people in the chat rooms when I was a young person. Times change, guys. Times change. These kids aren't impressed with McDonald's, and I don't think that Madeline Soto would have been impressed with McDonald's either. This was their ploy to give him an alibi and an excuse for driving past that McDonald's so early in the morning, way earlier than Madeline needed to get up and get to school. That was their ploy. That's my opinion. I have no evidence of it, but I do believe that this was a script that both Stephen Stearns and Jen Soto crafted together, rehearsed together to feed the cops. That's my opinion. I have no evidence of it. Let's keep going.
Okay. Did he say anything else aside from she didn't want to go to McDonald's?
About her, no. About his morning, yes. He had tried going to the vape shop when it opened right after he dropped her off from school and waited, but they never opened on time, so he came back, hung out a little bit. He came home around 10 and then went back out eventually to the vape store to go get some vape stuff.
So he left after 10. What time did you get back home for the day?
Let me check something. I want to check what time my blood work appointment is at. I'll give you more of an accurate time.
Yeah.
Okay, so my appointment was at 10:15 and it took them 45 minutes to see me. So I didn't get home until 11:15, 11:30.
And was Stefan back at that point in time?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
I can't remember.
And then what did the day look like after that? That's fine.
All right, so they get into it now. We're finally getting to the crutch of the show because after she talks about her timeline, we're going to go to how these Redditors broke it down, and it's not looking too good for her. Her timeline is shot, but please do hit that like button, guys. Them likes are looking real anemic. I don't know if you guys need to take your iron pills or something like that. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you guys hate cops. You might be some cop haters. You guys hate cops? That's what it is? You don't like cops? You don't like detectives? Please hit that like button. All right, if you're here, that means you like justice and you like law enforcement, okay? So please hit that like button to support the channel because those lights are looking real whack. All right, appreciate you guys. Let's keep going.
So I did my blood work, and I came back, and then I just waited. I waited for the rest of the day until 2:30 to leave. I wait in the car line, so I'm first in line to pick her up.
Yeah, that car line can be vicious. So you left approximately 2:30.
Yeah.
And pickups around 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now when you got there at 4, then what happened?
I waited in the car line for about 10 minutes.
Whoa. Let's go back just a second. I think I missed that because I was over here too busy talking ish. I want to get that timetable. Let's keep going one more time.
Approximately 2:30.
Yeah.
And pickups around.
And I came back, and then I just waited. I waited for the rest of the day until 2:30 to leave. I wait in the car line, so I'm first in line to pick her up.
Yeah, that car line can be vicious. So you left approximately 2:30.
Yeah.
And pickups around 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now when you got there at 4, then what happened?
I waited in the car line for about 10 minutes, and she never came out. So I thought maybe I missed her. I couldn't remember if I told her I was picking her up from school that day or if she had to walk to the office.
Okay.
So I went to the office to see if she made it. She never did. I drove around a little bit.
Okay.
I drove around a little bit, looking for her. I went back to the school. The school was closed at this point. I wanted to speak to somebody at the office to see if anybody could tell me if she had been there. I think at this point I had called, before I went to the school, I actually called her best friend and I said, "Hey, with you, I can't find her. She didn't walk to the office and she wasn't at school when I went to pick her up." She said she never made it. She's the first or second period. And I'm like, "What do you mean? I dropped her off." We dropped her off close to school. And she said she didn't make it to first or second period. I said, "Please check with the rest of your friends." She did. She got back to me, said none of them saw her today. I emailed one of her teachers.
She said, we dropped her off. She said, we dropped her off. Now, people are giving excuses for Jen Soto. Back in the day, I heard them, well, she's codependent. You know, the last psychologist hit me up, you know, the Ivy Tower people, no disrespect, because we got a lot of psychologists and therapists and doctors that watch this show. I'm not disrespecting you, but sometimes your empathy and your education may cloud your common sense. When you look at the totality of the things that Jen Soto have said, you should see her as a very manipulative person. If you look at one comment, like her saying, we, all right, well, you know, she's codependent and maybe she looks at her and Stephen Sturz as one. I mean, I'll accept that. That's what they were saying. I'll accept that. But when you look at the totality of what she said and done to Madeline Soto, how do you still come up with that kind of thought process to give her an out like that? There's no outs for Jen Soto. Everything she says is manipulative and lies to me, in my opinion. Okay? And her saying, we, is just another example of her use of words to deflect people and to give an alibi and excuses for Stephen Sturz. Why? Because Stephen Sturz mattered more than Madeline. Let's keep going. We dropped her off. We dropped her off when the correct answer is he dropped her off. Because when he dropped her off in this imaginary situation, because she was dead, you was supposedly sleeping. You were supposedly sleeping when he dropped her off. And of course, we all know he never dropped her off. He killed her and he dumped her body. Let's keep going.
Her teacher texted me her attendance for the whole day and told me she wasn't in school at all. That's when I knew something was wrong and I freaked out.
Okay. Is it typical of to walk to after school?
If I'm working, yes.
And where I mean, in relation to the school, like, is it a close walk, long walk?
It's a very close walk.
Okay. So typically in the morning, if, or I guess before Stephen moved, did he live with y'all?
All right, so I'm gonna stop it here. All right, so now we may come back to it. Let me bring the view back to me, and then let's get started on this timeline. Let's get started on the timeline. Let me set everything up over here for you fine people, and then we'll get started on the timeline. Started on this timeline. Okay, and let me get up my email as well. It's going to have the other stuff that I need. All right, perfect. Let's get this over here. Perfect. All right. Sorry. Good stuff. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and share this with you fine people. So this is the Madeline Soto. This is Impossible Spray's post. And he said proof that Jen knew Maddie was already gone. Okay. So let's get into this. So the first call was made by at 4:43. The second 911 call, the first 911 call was made at 4:43. The second 911 call was made at 5:15. Maddie's best friend dropped at the bus stop near her home at 4:46 p.m. Jen messages Maddie's teacher, Mr. Brett, at 5:36 p.m. Maddie's teacher responds at 5:53 p.m. That's when he said that she was never in school. Maddie's best friend's bus doesn't drop her at the bus stop near her home until 4:46 p.m., so then had to walk to her home and get inside because she states Jen contacted her after she got home. Jen did not message Maddie's teacher until 5:36 p.m., so that's we have evidence of that. And he did not respond until 5:53. Once again, there's evidence of that. But Jen told her family And her family told 911 because remember, Jen never called 911. Even though she said that she did, she never called 911. It was her family that called, her mother and her sister, that Maddie hadn't made it to school at or before 4:43. So remember, the two people that gave Jen confirmation that Maddie wasn't in school was her friend and Mr. Brett. Her friend and Mr. Brett. Well, how can Jen tell her loved ones that Maddie wasn't at school if she did not have confirmation from anyone at that time? She later got that confirmation from Jen. I mean, from the friend and Mr. Brett. Now I want to go over here to the email. I can't show you guys the email, so I'm bringing it back to me because the email really breaks this down even better, even more, I should say, not better. They're all both valuable in their own way, but even more. And big shout out to Impossible Spray 643. So let me go over. So I'm gonna say the first name because the first name is very generic. Lori. So Lori sends me very generic. So don't try and harass this person, otherwise I wouldn't have said their name. So Lori sends me on the email. So Lori says when so let me start reading from here. When Letitia called 911, she told them Maddie never made it to school, but no one had told Jen that yet. The only way Jen would have known that Maddie never made it to school is if she already knew Maddie was dead. Now that's Lori's opinion, but it's possible. It's definitely possible. No one told Jen that Maddie had made it or attended classes until after Jen had already advised her family and that they advised 911 that Maddie never made it to school. But how did Jen know that Maddie never arrived at school? See the 911 calls at 1:23:32 in the Grizzly True Crime video. So we might pull that up before the end of the show. In the 4:43 p.m. call to 911, Letitia Nunez states that she's reporting a missing child and that she, Maddie, was dropped off at the school this morning and apparently she never showed up. She also claims that Maddie was last seen at 8 a.m. at Peace Church wearing a dark green hoodie. This is definitive stuff that this 911 call is being said, but where did they get this information from? Of course, Nunez got it from Jen Soto, but how did Jen Soto know that Maddie never made it to school? She didn't speak to anybody at that point, at least from the evidence that we've seen. At least from the evidence that we've seen, she never talked to anyone at that point that verified that Maddie wasn't in school. Let's keep going. But at this time, no one has yet advised Jen that Maddie had not attended classes that day. Jen hasn't even talked to Maddie's best friend or her teachers yet. That doesn't happen until later. All Jen and her family knew at this time is that Maddie was dropped off near the school and has come home, yet 39 minutes after the last bell. So why do they not say this to 911? No one knew, updated, or further information provided by Jen's family in the second and third call. Let's keep going. Bring this up. Sorry. Kind of like navigating all these different folders we have here. So I apologize for that. Desktop. Sorry. Let's see here. Insert the timeline. Here we go. So I'm going to read you this highlighted. This is from Investigator Morris. Let's bring this in for you guys. Jennifer said she waited for approximately 10 minutes. Well, let me go back a little bit. Jennifer says she got back home after she dropped off Madeline at school. This is a first statement. This is an official statement. Remember, she said that she dropped off Madeline with Stephen Stearns, right? Oh, no. Stephen also stated, sorry, I missed the line. I apologize. Stephen also stated that she left, after Jennifer left, that it was when Stefan called her to tell her about the McDonald's. Stefan also stated that he dropped off Madeline at school. He went, so my apologies, this is not what I misread, but she did say that she did drop him off with Stefan Stearns, but she later corrected herself, said she misspoke. But anyway, let's keep going. Jennifer said she waited for approximately 10 minutes after the school bell rang for Madeline to come out to her car. Since Madeline didn't come out of the car, Jennifer stated she couldn't remember if she told Madeline to go to her grandmother's office to be picked up. Jennifer called Yolanda, who stated Madeline wasn't there. Jennifer drove around the area looking for Madeline. Then she went back to the school to speak with someone at the office. The office was closed. Jennifer said while she was driving to the school, she placed a call to Sage Ellis, who is Madeline's best friend. Sage stated Madeline never made it to school. Jennifer asked her what she meant and said we dropped her off close to school. Jennifer said she emailed Madeline's teacher, inquire about the attendance for the day, which confirmed she wasn't in school all day. At that point, blank stated she called 911. At this point, Jennifer Soto stated she called 911. She didn't call 911. She didn't call 911. All right, let's keep going. Bring it back to me real quick. Let's go back to that timeline because the second one that Lori wrote, really good. I was reading something. I apologize. Okay, let's keep going. So here's what Jen told police repeatedly happened, specifically stating that it occurred in this order. So we're going to break it down again for you guys, all right? Number one, 2:30 p.m. Let me put something in the background because it's just me talking. Tighten this up. Keeps moving. My apologies. Give me a second, guys. I got to put a background picture in because we're just looking crazy right now. We're looking crazy. Some people are like, oh my God, Strategic, you stopping the show just for a background image? I don't want to talk without a background image, okay? I want to have a background image. So weird talking to you guys, just looking at you. There's nothing in the background. Let's do this, because we're talking about Jen today. We're going to put my favorite Jen Soto picture up. It's my favorite Jen Soto picture. This was done by the Strategic Eyes research crew. Some of them are really good with like Photoshop and stuff like that. We have Jen in the background. And let me tighten up this mic. I apologize, guys, but I can't have this mic flopping around and smacking me around as I'm trying to do this show. Perfect. Stop flopping around. We can put it places, it'll stay. Perfect. All right, let's get to work. Apologize for that, guys. Let's get to work. All right, so this is the timeline she repeatedly gave police, okay? We're going to go through the timeline, and then we're going to go through the actual timeline, all right? 1, 2:30 p.m., arrived at school. 2, 4 p.m., bell rang. Jen conveniently does not state what time the last bell rings. She implies that the bell rang at 4 p.m. 4:10 p.m., Jen states she was 10 minutes after the bell, then drives away, right? Remember, this is Lori that's writing this, all right? We're reading what Lori wrote. I think Lori and Impossible Spray did a great job, all right? It's not me writing this. This is very smart people who have taken the time to break this down, and we're analyzing what they're writing, okay? All right. Between 4:10 and 4:30 p.m., Jen states that she drove to her mom's office, drove the route that Maddie would walk, returned to her mom's office, parked on the street, and waited, etc. Now remember, in the statement that we just read over here, Jen said that she was driving to her mother's office and she called the mother and the mother said she wasn't there, and then she just kept driving around. Jen never said in that statement, that was one of her earlier statements, that she actually went to the mother's office at the time that she said in later statements. But let's keep going. The next one, 4:30 p.m. Jen claims that she went back to the school to find it closed. We also know that's not true because they have an aftercare program. We studied that. We brought up the aftercare program. We showed the posters. We showed that people are still in the school all the way up till 7:30 p.m. in the nighttime. Okay. We also talked about the fact that Jen Soto was a substitute teacher at the school, and she knew very well who the administrators was. She knows how to get into school. I'm sure the doors are locked. I'm just saying she knows the school. She's not just a parent. She was also a temporary employee for times at that school. She even taught Madeline Soto's class before, where her mother was the teacher for a moment, being a substitute teacher. She was paid. It was not free. Some substitute teachers work for free. Like in small school districts, you volunteer. No, she was paid. It was through a temp agency. So she knows the school, she knows the layout, she knows the schedules, she knows the administrators, she knows what time the office closes, she knows where the aftercare program is being done, which was, I believe, the YMCA or something like that. I could be wrong, but she knows. Okay, let's keep going. The next one. Jen claims she called Sage and contacted Maddie's teacher, 4:30 p.m. to 4:45 p.m. Jen claims that after learning from Sage and Maddie's teacher that Maddie hadn't attended classes that day, she herself freaked out and called 911. We read that in the statement. We know that's not true. Jen claims, the next one, Jen claims she called Stefan after calling 911 and then he hauls ass to mom's office. And the last one, Jen claims she and Stefan then remained at the condo, did not leave until after responding officers left. I agree with that because she did say she did not leave, waiting to see if Madeline came home. Now, mind you, I think that that's horrible because it is a good idea to have somebody waiting for the child at home just in case, so that when the child comes home, you could call everybody off and let everybody know she's here, she's safe. But both of them did not need to remain inside the home, especially if Stephen Stearns is the last person to see her. I expect you to be the first person out there looking for her. So mommy and fake step boyfriend daddy didn't need to stay home. Mommy needed to stay home. So when people say, oh, she didn't look for her daughter, I give her some grace. She could have stayed home, but Stefan didn't need to stay home with her. Let's keep going. So now this is what actually happened now. According to Lori and Possible Spray and all these folks who are covering this and digging into this timeline. 2:55 p.m. she arrived at the school. 4:04 p.m. the last bell rang. 4:10 p.m. Jen drives away from the school 6 minutes after the last bell rang. This is according to Lori, guys. I got to do my own research. You guys got to do your own research too. I've researched into quite a few of this. A lot of it checks out. I haven't researched into all of it. So we are just telling our opinion here. You take it with a grain of salt. Do your own research. All right. 4:10 to 4:30 p.m. Jen goes to the mother's office, possibly drives the route that Maddie would walk, and parks on the street talking to Stefan on Google Chat. 5. Jen returns to mom's office and tells that Maddie was dropped off at Peace Church and that she never made it to school. The next one, 4:41 p.m. Jen calls Stefan and tells him to haul ass to mom's office. 4:43 p.m. Leticia Nunez, Jen's stepsister, calls 911. Jen standing beside her and tells the dispatcher that Maddie was last seen at 8 a.m. at Peace Church, but that Maddie never arrived at school and that they literally already called everyone they knew. She also tells dispatcher that Maddie was wearing a dark green hoodie. The next one. Sometime after 4:46 p.m. and likely later, Jen calls or messages Maddie's best friend Sage, who tells her that Maddie was in her first period. Wasn't in her first period. I apologize. The person did a spell check. Wasn't in her first period. 5 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Jen asks Sage to contact other friends to see if Maddie went to the other classes. Sage does so and gets back to Jen, telling her that Maddie wasn't in her other friends' classes either. 5:15 p.m. Leticia calls 911 to follow up, but provides new, different, and updated information. 5:26 p.m. Jenna and Yolanda drive back to the school, but the administrative offices are closed. 5:36 p.m. Jen messages Maddie's choir teacher with a calm, friendly message stating, I'll confirm what she, I'm sorry. That's her message to me. But she messages, she didn't tell me to read this, but I just like to read what people write. Like, don't let me put my own spin on it. Let me write what you wrote, you know? But at 5, let me find my bearing, 5:36 p.m., she messages the choir teacher. 5:46 to 6 p.m., Maddie's choir teacher contacts the other teacher and the school administrators. 6 p.m., Jen returned to the condo, and we'll stop it there. Let me go back to Impossible Spray. And let me get my favorite picture of Jen Soto down. Oh, I think some people sent some super chats. Did I miss something? Let me see here. I apologize. I apologize for that. I couldn't see that screen. So people have sent super chats. I'm going to go through them right now. I couldn't see them because of the screen that I was looking at. It was covering up the chat here. So let me go ahead and read that. First of all, we got so many people who are members and who are celebrating their anniversaries of being members. We appreciate you. Member for 4 months is Kristen Perry. She says, love you, Strategic, from Vermont. Thank you so much. Michelle Valadares is a 3-month member, and Foxy Amazon is also a 3-month member at the patrol level. Thank you so much. And Carrie Perry, Kristen Perry is also a patrol member. Thank you so much. Foxy Amazon Strategic, please put up the Jen Soto Grimace pic. I think we obliged you for quite a bit. Tori with a $5 super chat says, also on Google Earth, it looks like cars can drive around her. If she was stuck waiting for Maddie, she wasn't holding up the line. I said that from day one. I said that in most instances, you cannot have a single lane line. It's against the law because it's dangerous. If there's an emergency, people can't emergency egress. Or if a car breaks down, now nobody can go anywhere. People are driving on concrete or grass to get around that car, or driving on sidewalks. That's not safe, especially for a school. So we covered that a long time ago where we showed the Google Earth, and we clearly showed that it's more than a 1 lane. It's at least a 2 lane where you can go around people. We also said that she herself could have driven up on the sidewalk if she wanted to go in and speak to administrators. We also showed that in the back of the school is abundance of parking, where there's tons of spaces that not only could accommodate the staff that are there, but also can accommodate guests. So she could have simply just drove to the back of the school, which is just a couple feet away from the front of the school, parked, and then went to look for her daughter. She chose not to do any of that. So really good comment from you, Tori. Not that Jen with a $5 super chat says, beige suit, looking fire today, Strategic. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Tori with another $5 super chat says, also, if Jen needed her sleep so badly, why would she show up at the school an hour early? She knew it all. A hill I would die on. Okay, I hear you. So she's saying she knew it all, and she would bet the farm on the fact that she believes that Jen knew that Maddie was gone. Unbelievable. Lorraine Buchanan celebrating her 4th month as a Strategic Eyes Recruit member. Thank you so much, Lorraine, for supporting the channel and being a member of the show. All right, so let's keep going. Let's get back to it. I just want to acknowledge these folks because unfortunately I could not see that they were sending those super chats. Let's get back to this. All right, so let's put this over here. Boom. So let's get back over here to Impossible Spray. So Impossible Spray actually got the bus schedule going to the address for Maddie's friend to that area, and it shows that she doesn't get dropped off until 4:46 p.m. They even have a map the whole 9. So that kind of outlines that timeline. So what is the point of this show? And then we're going to take calls. What is the point of the show? The point of the show is that it appears that Jen Soto alerted her family and, by proxy, the authorities that her daughter never went to school. That her daughter never went to school. But how could she make that claim if she never spoke to anybody? And that's what we need to figure out. So these folks are putting that together. I'm going to make sure I do my own research, and I'm going to see if I could definitively say I agree with them or not. But it appears that Jen made these claims before she spoke to the people who actually were eyewitnesses to be able to tell her that Maddie never made it to school. If in fact it is true that Jen told her stepsister and her mother that Maddie never made it to school without having any verifiable fact that Maddie never made it to school, we have no choice but to assume that it's possible that Jen might have known that Maddie actually never went to school. And if Jen knew that Maddie never went to school, then Jen most likely, in my opinion, would have known that she was dead. And I think there's two things that we conflate in this case. And I want to bring up the software so we can start the call soon. We've been here for an hour already, and I got some things I need to do to get prepared for the new year. I think we get two things conflated in this sad, sad case. The two things we get conflated is that we look at the ex-abuse and the unaliving as one. They're not one. They're two separate things. We want to believe that Jen had to know everything, but it's possible she knew nothing or something. It's possible Jen did not know that Maddie was being abused by Stephen Stearns. It is possible that Jen did not know that Maddie was unalived by Stephen Stearns. It is possible that she did not know. It's also possible that Maddie, or rather that Jen knew that Stephen Stearns was abusing her and didn't care, but she didn't know that she was unalived. And she literally was going through her day, thinking it's just another day. Maddie's at school. I'm going to go pick her up. And we're just wrong about all of this. Even if the times are correct, the intent is wrong. Maybe she's just off with her times, and it is what it is. And, you know, she's under duress because her daughter's missing, and she just makes some mistakes, and it is what it is. But her mindset was that I was going to pick up my daughter. Or maybe she knew that Maddie was dead, but she never knew that Stephen Stearns was abusing her. We have observed Jen Soto defending Stephen Stearns in the face of knowing that he was ex-abusing her for years. If we can observe that with our own eyes, I'll put the guy voice on, with our own eyes, we watched Jen Soto on that couch defend Stephen Stearns. We watched her with our own eyes on that couch, watch her defend Stephen Stearns in the face of concrete evidence that he was ex-abusing her child. If she's willing to defend him for that, why wouldn't she be able or be willing to defend him for murder? We conflate these two things that you got to have one with the other. But you can actually have one without the other. She could have known that Maddie was dead and not have known about the abuse. She's not a coroner. It's possible Maddie could have been dead. He could have said, yo, I gave her too much medicine, or she stopped breathing in the nighttime. I don't know. I'm scared they're going to say I did something to her. And then she's like, oh, well, I mean, it's so hard to think that, right? Because like as parents, we would think that, no, I'd freak out, I'd lose my mind. But look at her, just listen to her.
He said he hurt his thumb while changing the tire, like the frame or something slipped and something pitched his finger, and he
just listen to her voice. Listen to how nonchalant she is. Like, I get like sociopathic vibes from this woman. Listen to this. I'm not talking out my booty hole right now, guys. Listen to how she's talking. This is right after her daughter went missing. This is baby girl is gone, and detectives, homicide, and sex crimes are talking to her because down in Kissimmee in Orange County, Osceola County, excuse me, the Special Victim Squad doesn't just investigate sex crimes, they also investigate missing people. So they're talking to her. Listen to her affect. Listen to her voice.
Can you remember anything about Sunday or Saturday or this weekend where she may have said that she was wanting to hang out with friends or something she was wanting to do or anything?
On Sunday, she actually had a party, and she had some friends come over. So she hasn't expressed that she wanted. She actually got to spend time with friends and family.
Does that sound like a mother that has feeling in her? Like, okay, right now at this moment, she doesn't know that Maddie has been abused. She doesn't know that Maddie is dead. She doesn't know any of this stuff, but she knows her daughter's missing. Would you sound like this? Would this be your affect?
A great Sunday. She came back with a lot of presents. She was super happy.
So people say medication. I mean, listen, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist, not a psychiatrist, not a medical doctor, not a general practitioner, not a surgeon, not a brain surgeon. But doesn't most medicines kind of bring you down? She sounds chipper. She sounds cherry. Let me get some of that medication in. Let me get some of that to pop when I'm over here having a bad day. That bipolar, ADHD medicine make you sound like you're happy, make you sound like you're having a great day, make you sound like it's just another day, just another walk in the park. I didn't know that those medications give you those type of side effects. She sounds like a normal person having a normal conversation. Some people said in chat she sounds flat. She doesn't even sound flat to me. That's not flat. Flat is this. I go to the store and I had a sandwich and they put extra mayo on my sandwich and not, oh, she had a great day. She had a great time. She hanged out with her friends and, she had a really good day. That's not flat. That's not flat. Let's go and look at the dictionary. That's not flat. She sounds like a normal person without a care in the world. It's right here before our very eyes and our ears. Listen to her.
Okay. So, no arguments at home recently or anything?
No, nothing like that.
Has she ever, in the totality of, I guess, everything, as long as she's been, ever gone off to spend time by herself or gone to hang out at a park by herself or something to kind of clear her own head?
So here comes Oxford real quick. But the naysayers, you guys can have your own opinion. It is what it is. You don't have to agree with me. I don't have to agree with you. Let's do the first two definitions. The third definition from Oxford Dictionary is talking about soda. We're not talking about soda. The first two about personality and speaking. 1, smooth and even, without marketed lumps or indentations. Excuse me. I'm reading from far away so far. I got to zoom in. Let me zoom it in. My eyes are getting old. The second one, lacking interest or emotion, dull and lifeless. I'm sorry, he said in a flat voice. Her drawings were flat and unimaginative. These are examples. The first one is for like the example they gave, the trim of the surface of the cake to make it completely flat. So that's not even the proper definition. The third definition is having lost its effervescence, which is for flat champagne or something like that. The second one is the only one that relates to language and emotion. It says lacking interest or emotion, dull and lifeless. I'm sorry, he said in a flat voice. Her drawings were flat and unimaginative. She has fluctuations in her voice. She has emotion in her voice. It's just not the emotion we're looking for. Listen to her.
So there's a lake right behind this building.
Mm-hmm.
She'll sometimes sit at the dock by the lake, but I check on her often.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out, I mean, if she, I don't know if something at school upset her, something here upset her. Not that it would be anyone's fault, but if there's somewhere that she may go for, like, you know, peace of mind.
Yeah, it would be the lake right behind the house.
Does she do any extracurriculars?
No.
Got it. Now, your roommates, I know you told me their names earlier, but can you give them to me again? I didn't write them down.
Sure. Angelica. And then Negro, Nigro.
Uh-huh.
And then...
All right, we're about to open the lines up for some calls. Somebody said something really interesting in the chat. Let me see if I can find it. Cal Johnson says, my sister's a clinical psychologist who works for a major university and has a research program of over 400 graduate students for assessment without treating. Her assessment without treating Jen is that she's malingering. And I looked up malingering, and malingering in mental health refers to the intentional production or display of false or exaggerated symptoms, either physical or psychological, with the goal of receiving a specific benefit or reward. This can include seeking financial compensation, avoiding legal consequences, or evading work or other responsibilities. Sounds like, Jen, to me, your sister must be a very smart woman because she figured Jen out with a very nice SAT word. She is malingering. All right. Let's keep going while I set this up.
Nathalie, which is Nathlie. Rosero.
Rosero. Okay. Do you have their phone numbers by chance? If they're not here. Are you okay? Do you have to use the bathroom?
No, I'm just anxious.
Oh, okay.
I've got anxiety. Let me see. Okay, Angelica, she primarily speaks Spanish, so you probably need a Spanish speaker.
Okay.
All right. Perfect. All right, guys, I'm opening up the lines, man. The lines are open. Please come through, show some love. Tell me what you guys think about this. What do you think about the timeline? If you don't want to talk about the timeline, it's fine. Talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. I definitely don't limit the callers as to what you want to talk about. But certainly, I am curious. Do you guys think that Jen Soto actually knew before she had confirmation from Maddie's friends and teachers, etc., she never made it to school? Do you think she knew already that Maddie never made it to school, whether it be that Stephen Stearns told her that he killed her or whatever reason? I don't know. Like, what do you guys think? Do you guys believe that Jen knew this information long before allegedly she was supposed to know? I'm going to get that phone number for us right now, and then I'm going to post it. Interesting stuff here, man. Where is the phone number? It's usually supposed to be over here. Here we go. Perfect. I'm posting that number right now, and then I got to pin it. The number is there, guys. I'm going to pin the number for you fine people. Where we go. I think it's pinned. Perfect. 518-639-6283. 518-639-6283 is the phone number. Call in now so we can talk to you. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about, but I am also curious about this timeline. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that Jen Soto knew that her daughter never made it to school and all of this was just an act? It was just an alibi. It's a way either to benefit Stephen Stearns or maybe even benefit herself. I'd love to hear what you guys think about that. I'd like to hear your opinion. You guys are amazing. 773 people, 77 people watching right now. Please do hit that like button. Support the channel, guys. Hit the like button. Support the channel. We need your support. Let's bring in the new year with a bang. Let's get into that algorithm. Let's get this show shown to a wider audience so that we can grow this channel, guys. We're nothing without you. First caller, let's do it. First caller, what's going on? What's your name and where you calling from? Hello? Can't hear you. All right. You might want to try and call back again. We're having some technical difficulties on your end. We can't hear you. But certainly we do want to hear from you, so consider calling back. Let's get the next caller. All right. Okay. All right. We're just having technical difficulties all the way around. Caller, how you doing? Can you hear me? Interesting. All right. Having some technical difficulties. We'll figure it out. All right, let's try again. Lines are open. I apologize that we weren't able to get those first two callers, but please do consider calling back. We'd love to hear from you. Sometimes these things happen with the technical difficulties, but certainly we want to hear from you guys. Please do try and call back in again. All right. Let's keep going with this. Hey, caller, what's going on? Welcome to Strategic Eyes Show. What's going on? Okay. Let's try something here. Maybe it's me. Is it me? Have I done something wrong? I don't know. All right. Let me try to call myself. See if it works. Caller, what's going on? Can you hear me? Yeah, everything is good over here. Oh, hold on. We do have a technical issue. I think it's me. I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Mr.
I can hear you.
Strategic?
So the problem was actually me. For
That's
some reason.
All right. God bless you. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you for being
service.
And thank you for being patient with me. We had a little technical glitch, but we're here. So let's start this over from the beginning. Where are you calling from? What's your name?
I'm calling from Washington State. My name is Carol Johansson. I
Nice to
am
meet you.
the individual who has a sister with a PhD, and I am the person who talked about malingering in your chat.
Cool. So did your
I'd
sister...
like to add to that, if
Go for
possible.
Go for it. We're listening. Go ahead.
Malingering essentially is faking symptoms. It is not uncommon for individuals who are essentially grifting the mental health care or Social Security disability system. So they will read up on what symptoms they should display and get a clinician to say, yes, this person suffers from these ailments. However, one of the most dangerous types of personality disorders is called the dark triad.
Okay. What's the dark triad?
It is sadism, psychopathy, and narcissism.
So can you describe what the first one is? Statism? What is that? And psychopathy?
Sadism is an enjoyment in causing pain for others.
Okay, so you said sadism. I thought you said stateism.
That's
I was
correct.
like, I never heard that. But yes, sadistic person.
That's
Gotcha.
correct. A sadistic individual takes pleasure from causing pain to others. They will often assault children, elderly, disabled individuals, and animals. The reason being, those individuals are more readily available to be used. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. Do you think that any of those things kind of match up with Jen Soto?
I do. I do. I think that this is a personal opinion.
Okay.
and all allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe that Jennifer was well aware of the situation she had forced her young child into for many, many years.
Okay.
She admitted that she and Stefan spoke on the phone, FaceTiming or Google timing or what have you,
Mm-hmm.
nearly all day, every day.
Right.
This was also confirmed by Deb Stearns, who said every time she spoke with Stefan, she saw potato face.
Mm.
So they were in constant contact.
Mm.
The fact that he had the Google Meet connected with young Madeline
Mm-hmm.
also means that on those late night meetups, he could see her.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, he could force her via threats,
Mm-hmm.
via grooming, via I'm going to expose you, this is your fault,
Mm-hmm.
etc. And he could have been deriving his pleasures at that time as well,
Right.
and likely was.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Stearns is the type of individual, again, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
who would take every opportunity to harm his victim.
Right.
Every opportunity. So simply because some of the data only shows 3 days apart, which is horrifying anyways,
Mm-hmm.
that's only what was kept and recorded on his phone.
Right.
That does not mean there was not activity on those days as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, the psychopathy
Mm-hmm.
portion of the dark triad.
Mm-hmm.
Psychopaths mimic other individuals. They learn at a very young age to mimic what other people do in order to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
They have absolutely no empathy. So they are simply unable to feel what it might be like to be their victim.
Mm.
And that is why it is so easy for Mr. Stearns to simply discard this beautiful child alongside the road after taking her life.
Mm-hmm.
However, the fact that Miss Soto repeatedly mentions on that March 1st interview when she feels she is being pressured and may be culpable,
Mm-hmm.
she begins to discuss 192. And that afternoon, she knows the time. She knows the location. She knows that he was at St. Cloud, and then corrects herself saying, I don't know why he would go to St. Cloud. Well, I can tell you why he was headed to St. Cloud.
Okay.
Because Jennifer Soto used to live there in a very isolated area on Old Hickory Road.
Mm-hmm. So he's familiar with the area.
And, pardon me?
He's familiar with the area.
she is familiar with the area. Correct. She lived there for many years before she moved to Kissimmee. And the property that she lived on just off of where Madeline was discarded was only about another 3 miles.
Okay.
So it would make sense to me that what she is doing in that interview is actually leaking guilty knowledge as to where Madeline is.
All right, we're gonna end it right there, only because we have other people that need to come on. But I think you made some excellent points, and I really do appreciate you calling in. Okay.
Thank you so much, and Mr. Strategic Eyes, may I again thank you so much for your service as a peace officer. God bless you and your family. I have a tremendous amount of respect for you.
Thank you.
And your profession. I know it's got to be extremely difficult, and you are an inspiration.
Thank you so much, ma'am. All right.
God bless you.
You too. Strategic here. What's going on?
Good morning, Strategic.
Hi.
It's Shauna from California.
What's up, Shauna?
First, I want to say, hey, I love your show. I watch it every single day. And I love how you have deep dived into this case because I'm kind of obsessed. But what I wanted to say is I have a much darker view of Jen Soto.
Okay.
I feel that Jen Soto, and the reason I feel this way is if you listen to the Best Friends interview and the investigator says, do you think Jen Soto would have ever hurt her daughter? And the child replies, I don't know. And I find that interesting because a lot of the comments that other people had said in interviews made Jen sound like pretty much a monster. Like, I'm going to kick you out when you're 18.
Right.
You know, I mean, a lot of it sounded, I think Jen sounded like she was this really concerned mother, but she was pretty doped out. You know, she's sleeping all day. You know, she's not really zoned in. She admitted that, you know, she just hangs around the house and sleeps all day. Her and Stefan would sleep all day.
Right.
That was reported by his parents. I think she was tuned out. I also think that as her daughter got older, her daughter became competition. And when maybe she noticed that Stefan Stearns was paying much more attention to the daughter, that's why she had that Woody Allen comment she made, that she was frightened that that would happened to her. Now, why would somebody say that unless they were observing certain things going on between the boyfriend and the daughter?
I think it's clear why somebody would say that, because they obviously saw something inappropriate, something that made them feel like something inappropriate or untoward could be happening. You know, that's the only reason why.
Absolutely, 100. Yes, and I feel the same way. I feel like she saw certain things, but when she was no longer sexually interested in him, it was funny that she allowed her daughter, and there's some confusion about how many times she let her daughter sleep with Stefan Stearns. She at first says, 5 times, and then just once. I only did this one time. It's very confusing.
Well, we actually got the correct number. In her, first of all, her later interview, she said if it's a school week, 5 times out of the week, they would sleep together. That's her final number that we got. That was the most shocking thing that we heard. In one of her final interviews, she admitted, well, if it's a school week, 5 times out of the week, they would sleep together. And lastly, one statement that she's made the entire time, that they were all planning on sleeping in the same bed. We actually heard it in this show, earlier on the show. We heard her say it out of her own mouth, that they were all planning on sleeping in the same bed the night before the child died, or was killed rather. The only thing is she decided she needed to get some rest. And so that's why she sent them away. But the key thing that she said is we were planning on sleeping together, everybody in her room that night. But she was so tired, she needed a good night's rest. So she sent them to sleep upstairs. But she did say 5 times out of a week, she'd allow them to sleep together. Let's keep going. What's up?
I know. It's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. And the other thing I find really peculiar is you have a 13-year-old girl and she has no bedroom with no door. I mean, I know that when a young girl is going through changes, the one thing they value is privacy.
Right.
This little girl had no privacy. So when this monster was coming over and sitting around in the living room,
Right.
he was always in her face.
Right.
She couldn't escape him. To me, Jen Soto should be charged with child negligence and abuse, because if they could charge the Florida parents of that shooter, was he in Florida? I don't know. He was somewhere, and they charged him. And those parents are sitting in jail because that child had access to a gun.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry. She gave her daughter's abuser access to her daughter on the daily
Right.
for 7 years.
Yeah.
And to me, I just don't know how you could not see in 7 years that there was something bizarre
Right.
going on and make the Woody Allen statement that she did. I just don't get it.
There was never an instant, because the door had a lock on it, room number 4. There's never an instant where you go and you open the door, because if your daughter's sleeping with your boyfriend in a room, it just doesn't even sound right to say that. You would not expect the door to be locked. There's never an instance that you tried to open the door and it was locked, and then you had to wait a moment for them to come up and open the door, presumably
They
getting
had
themselves
several
together.
locks on that.
Yeah, like there's
Several locks.
so many things off with this whole story. There's like, like you said, the amount of time that passed with him in this child's life and abusing this child. There has to be an instant where somebody, even if it wasn't Jen, if it was just a roommate, would have walked in on something or seen something that just made them say something's not right. There's got to be behaviors like over-sexualization, because now remember, I believe that this child was being abused since 6 years old. There's no evidence of it because the video started 8 years old, but I believe 6 years old. And the videos that they have at 8 years old is full-blown sex, right? It's not touching and stuff. It's full-blown penetration. A child that age would become sexualized, meaning that they will have boundary issues. They're going to do things with other adults, say things that's going to make you go, hold on, why is an 8-year-old talking like that? Why is an 8-year-old doing that?
And she did.
But nobody said anything about it.
Oh, well, remember, Madeline said to the mother, Stephen Stern's mother, that, in the middle of the night, I put my leg over Stephen, ha, ha, ha. And the mother said, this is Stephen's mother, she thought that was peculiar.
Right.
But yet she didn't say anything. It's like everybody kind of knew, but they didn't want to. They didn't want to see. I don't know. It was very strange to me. But I just want to say I appreciate your show. It's a joy to see what you have posted on the daily. You are one of my top favorite content.
Appreciate that.
And your channel is amazing. And of course, I'm going to share it out where I can. And thank you again for covering this case. You do a terrific job deep diving through the evidence. And one other thing, have you yet done a deep dive on any of the evidence photos? I'm interested in seeing some of those evidence photos.
Oh, I haven't. But I'll definitely jump on it.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling. We'll talk. All right, next caller. How you doing? Welcome to Strategic Eyes Show. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
This is Jen. I'm calling from Justice for Madeline Soto land.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring up something that I haven't heard anybody really touch on.
Okay.
Is the blue glove that was found outside in the woods behind the condo.
Mm.
And they match exactly the same color as the blue gloves that were found in Stefan's dad's car. And I think why people are so misunderstanding how he could have gotten Maddie out of the condo is he probably did it in the dead of night and took her to those woods, laid her there, poor thing, and parked his car over there so he wasn't parked close up to the condo, and then maybe put her in before the sunrise and left her there and then drove her away.
Can you break that down a little bit more? I'm just a little confused on the timeline.
Yeah. Well, they found a blue glove outside in direct eye line sight of the condo. There's a photo of it in the evidence package. And people keep saying, how did the roommates not see him take her out? Or how did Jen not see him remove Maddie's body from the condo? And I believe he did it in the dead of night.
And he stored her in the inside of the complex. He stored her body in the complex. And then
he removed her and put her in the woods. That's why
which
there's
woods?
a use.
Which woods?
There are woods directly behind the condo.
Okay, but yeah, well, I meant to say like in the vicinity of the condo, right? That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
And then
Yes,
later
sir.
on, he moved her back into the vehicle, and that's why we see her leaving the condo complex strapped into the car.
Exactly.
I understand.
Yes,
now.
exactly.
Okay.
Yes. And people just keep getting hung up on like, how did the roommates not see him remove her body, or how did Jen not realize? I think he probably did it in the dead of night, put her in the woods. He had gloves on, and him being the idiot that he is, dropped one of the gloves. And if you look, it's the same color glove in the woods that was found in his car. And nobody's really touched on that. And there's photographs of that woods directly in eyesight of the condo. So that's all I wanted to bring up.
It's possible.
Yeah,
I mean, listen, these are all good theories. There's nothing as a bad theory. It's possible. It's definitely possible.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much for all you do. And thank goodness for keeping Maddie's name out there and justice for her.
Definitely. Thank you for what you do as well.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Anybody else? If not, we'll call it a day. Anybody else want to call, share? I think that's an interesting theory. Does anybody have like Jen's address off the top of your head? You put inside the chat. I could go ahead. Remember, we're not doxing anybody. We don't believe in that. That's evil. It's devil's work when you doxing people. But this is stuff that's readily available in the case. This is stuff that's been put out there already. So we're not doxing anybody. This is information that's been out there. So if you guys have her address off the top of your head, you put it in the chat. I'll go ahead and put up Google Earth, and we can actually see where these woods are and all that good stuff, and see if it's in the vicinity. Just kind of like go over this theory from the caller. I have the church saved, but I never saved the apartment complex. It's possible. It's definitely possible, man. It's a good theory. Just want to take a look for myself with my own eyes. Anyway, anybody else calling in? Oh, the lines are open. I want to make it a 2-hour show. We're at 1:48. So if nobody calls in, we'll end it now, and that's perfectly fine. Big shout out to everybody who has showed love. So I see someone just put it up. What's that? F1305. Let's put it in there, see what we got. What's happening, caller? Welcome to Strategic Eyes Show. True Crime with Strategic. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Brandy, and I'm calling from Florida.
Hey, what's up? What you got for me?
Hey, I was calling. I know a lot of people are really focusing on wanting him to get the death penalty.
Okay.
And I have, unfortunately, too much knowledge of the Florida prison system.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want him to get the death penalty.
Why is that?
They are way too comfortable. I want him to be in Gen Pop, where he can be prey, like he made Maddie prey. On death row, they're at Union. They're segregated. They don't have AC, and it does get unbearably hot.
Mm-hmm.
But they have private TVs.
Mm-hmm.
They have private use of the day room. They have their meals brought into them, so they're not socializing.
Right. You work in a prison system?
No, my husband is currently incarcerated here in Florida.
All right.
And
I worked in a prison system, and some people think that isolation is good, but isolation, and you could probably talk to your husband about that, can be torture. But from my perspective, because I want him to get the death penalty. From my perspective, you make some good points. I'm not saying you're wrong. You believe what you believe. I'm not saying you're wrong at all. But I don't care if he gets TV. I don't care if he gets his barrel candy. As long as I know that he's going to die. As long as I know that at some point, his existence within the next 10 years, because, they get their appeals and stuff like that. Within the next 10 years, there's a finite date for the existence of Stephen Stearns. That 30 years from now, Kim Kardashian's great-grandkids can't go fight to have him removed because, somebody stepped on a cigarette butt in his evidence. Or some governor comes in and decides they want to, be ultra woke. Not saying woke is a bad thing. I'm just saying, and they just want to commute his sentence to life in prison or whatever. A law might change. Like, there's so many variables, but there is one thing that's finite, and that's death. And that is cutting a life short that maybe could have lived for the next 60 to 70 years, the same fate that he gave Madeline Soto, because Madeline Soto's life was cut short. I want the same thing. To me, that's justice for Stephen Stearns, knowing that his lineage is going to end. Because guess what? He get life in prison. He finds some lady who's now willing to be his pen pal, who then decides to be his wife. He can have children. Are you married to your husband? You said husband, so you're married, right?
Yes.
You guys get conjugal visits, right?
No, I go to see him. I'm one of the fortunate few that he's located close to me. And my mother and I go to every visit. We are allowed to visit from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday.
Do you mind me asking what his crime was? I mean, we don't know who you are.
Okay. It's complicated.
No, I just want to know. Murder, rape, like, I don't...
His accusation was rape by his estranged wife.
Okay.
Who made the phone call, made the text message. She admitted to it, but he was also involved in small county politics.
Okay.
And knew too much about the state attorney. And I have a master's in nursing. I'm not someone that just believes everything. I've known him since we were kids.
I hear you.
And she walked away with over $10 million.
I mean, it's complicated. I don't know. I'm a justice guy. I'm usually on the side of the system.
I'm definitely a justice person, and I do believe in the death penalty in certain cases. And I have absolutely zero patience because I do volunteer and advocacy work for the mamas whose children are predatory pedophiles who say, "But my baby," it's like, no, wake up.
Right.
Or the young, dumb teenager asking why she can't get white Air Force One sent to her boyfriend. So I'm not coming at this as a naive.
I get you. But the reason why you don't get conjugal is because I think it's a violent crime. Unless they have different policies out there.
No, Florida has nobody gets conjugal.
No? Okay, well, my apologies.
Person.
All right. Okay, cool. Because in New York, you could get conjugal unless it's like a violent crime, like a murder or a rape or something like that. But what are you talking about? I'm not talking to you. Google start talking. So sure, I can help you that. All right. But anyway, my point is, it's not about you. So I apologize. I just want to know because I thought that Florida gave conjugals. My point is that, like, let's say they did give conjugals or they changed their policy. I don't want him making babies. I don't want him being with a woman. I want Stephen Stearns to cease to exist on the earth because he used a good part of his adult life, because he's known Madeline Soto for 6 to 7 years, and the majority of her life, because she was like 6 years old when this abuse started. He used that time and energy to destroy another life, and then he ended up taking that life from this earth. Because guess what? We could have salvaged Madeline. We could have given her services. We could give her support. We could have poured taxpayer money into her because she was worth it, to try and at least give her a life worth living past that abuse. But Stephen Stearns never gave us that opportunity, because he decided he was going to kill her. So guess what? Even in Gen Pop, he still has access to his barrel candy. He still has access to talking to people, to making bonds, to making friends, to getting pen pals, to find somebody who's willing to love him, because everybody deserves to be loved. So he still has that opportunity. Yeah, maybe he might get pushed around by inmates a little bit, but eventually they'll forget about him. You want to know why I know that? Because I worked in maximum security prisons, and I saw baby rapers walking around that nobody cared about. Nobody bothered. Could they hang out with the boys? No. Could they go play in the pickup basketball game? Absolutely not. But yeah, they could go to the yard and sit down and play chess, and nobody's going to bother them. Eventually, nobody cares in prison. And that's why I feel like we need to care, and we need to end Stephen Stearns. Now, there's some people who don't believe in the death penalty, and I respect that. And I don't expect them to want him to get the death penalty. And there's some people, at your point of view, that think he might suffer more in Gen Pop, and I respect that too. Nobody's wrong. Strategic's not wrong, and you, caller, you're not wrong. But I'm just telling you my point of view. But I appreciate your point of view as well. I wish you and your husband good luck. I hope that he's not falsely incarcerated, but I do believe all victims unless I have evidence otherwise. And since I don't know his case, I can't say either or. But I do appreciate you for calling me and showing the love and give me your point of view. Anything else you want to add?
Okay, thank you. No, that was it. I think, one, they still get visits on death row.
Right.
And he can still get a pen pal and have and that is in-person touch, and their visits are more pleasant.
But he gets an end date, though.
Than what?
He gets an end date.
But he does. I would prefer they did it like Japan does, where you don't get your date.
Right.
You don't know every morning when you wake up.
We know how much of a coward this man is, and we know how much he wants to preserve his own life. When that day comes, he's going to experience an amount of torture that probably nobody on earth has experienced, because nobody really knows their end date. He's going to know, I'm walking to my death right now. He's going to know this is my last meal. He's going to be able to sit there and watch the family members of Madeline Soto who want to attend watch him die. So to me, that just means something. But yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you. Have a great day and Happy New Year, man.
You too. Thank you so much.
Peace. All right. I do want to apologize to that caller, because as she was saying, when she said rape, I rolled my eyes, and you guys saw that shit too. And it wasn't cool. But the reason why I roll my eyes is because I hate rapists, man. I really hate rapists. All right. It is what it is. This is what I do. I don't know. There are innocent people who are in jail. There are people who are innocent who are in jail. And then when she said the ex-wife thing, it does get complicated. I've done tons of cases where ex-wives have lied on their husbands, ex-husbands, boyfriends, whatever, and said that they were victims of abuse, and they were not. So is it possible? It absolutely is possible. But my subconscious made me roll my eyes, because it's like, oh man, here we go again. Because we do get a lot of folks who support these type of folks. Hold on one second, caller. Let me just finish my thought real quick. So I do want to apologize. Yes, I do want to apologize to that caller for doing that, because that was not cool, but it was not something I wittingly did. It was a subconscious thing. All right. I don't know that person's story, and I don't know if that person is innocent or guilty. And I appreciate that caller for calling the show. Caller, how you doing? Welcome to Strategic Eyes Show. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, Strategic. My name is Terry. I'm calling from Texas. I'm not going to keep you long. I know you're trying to go, and we thank you so much for doing all that you do. You are one of my favorite content creators because of your experience. And just to add a little bit to the last caller, because I actually had a very personal experience with my brother. Okay. And he had set up, him and his wife were on the outs. She wanted to get a certain amount of money from him. Mm-hmm. She felt that she couldn't get it. So she 100% made up a rape story. And the only reason my brother is not sitting in prison right now is because he's crazy too, but he had a camera in the house that she didn't know about. So the whole conversation that the girl, my sister-in-law, planned with her mother and other people was talking about framing my brother for rape. So I do have personal experience.
And I want to add to that and say something. That's why I apologize, because when we're going through life, we sometimes forget about our own personal experiences. I have a family member. I'm not going to say what family member, but I had a family member that was also falsely accused of because it's so close, I'm not even going to say who. Just know that it was a bad divorce situation and sex assault allegations were made, and they turned out not to be true. They went all the way to the grand jury, and the grand jury said, hell no, we're not indicted. And listen, as a law enforcement officer, I'm telling you, if a prosecutor wants you indicted, you're 99.99999% of chance going to be indicted. Half of the cases where the person is voted not guilty by a jury, a grand jury said that we're going to indict this person and should move along. And the jury said no. This was one of those rare instances where a jury said, hell no, this is a lie. And this was a very close family member to me who had to go through that ordeal, had to go to prison for, I think it was 30 days. They were in jail, not prison, jail. There's a difference between prison and jail. They were, because we told that family, we said, yo, you can either choose. We can either A, bail you out, or we can hire you an attorney. And so the person said, hire me the attorney, please. So that person's sitting in county jail until it went to the grand jury. And the grand jury was like, hell no. And it was unanimous too. Like, no, absolutely not. This did not happen. And then later on, not to get too deep in the weeds, but later on, the person who made the accusations apologized for it and basically admitted as much that it was not real. It was basically one of those divorce situations. So even me, that's why I apologize to that caller, because, listen, I hear 1,000 times where guilty people, their loved ones are saying they're innocent. So my subconscious made me roll my eyes, but it's not a rolling eyes situation, because this person might legitimately be innocent who's in prison. I don't know, so I can't comment, but I do believe victims. So my subconscious always tells me support the victims and all that good stuff until you find out otherwise. So that's why
that's your profession. That's your profession. You spend your days out doing this. And the original reason I called in earlier, we had some problems, but the original reason that I wanted to say, I know people kind of go back and forth on if Jen knew this and that. That's what the show is about. I also saw that comment on Reddit and wanted to go back and do the timeline. But my thing was, as a survival of SA myself, I am hyper sensitive to my nieces and nephews, any girls that are around men. And then so for you to say that this happened to you and this is the reason that you're on disability because some dude did this to you, why would you send your daughter to bed with a sexually active man, man with a sex drive?
That is an excellent caller. A guy who you said, after you found out everything, you said, well, he was deprived of sex, so, I wasn't having sex with him. That came out your mouth. But that is an excellent point.
2 years.
You go into a man's house that you worked with, and he allegedly took advantage of you. First of all, where is this guy? Because I don't believe nothing she says. And now that hurts me because I believe all victims. But I think it probably happened. I'm going to give it that deference. But where's this guy? He needs to talk up for himself. But you said that a guy took advantage of you, and then you went and put your daughter in the same, if not worse, situation.
That's why I don't believe her. I don't believe a damn thing she says about sex, about SA. I don't believe it because you couldn't sleep. You couldn't get your good sleep. You couldn't do that with your daughter in the bed with a man, even if it was in the same bed with you, or if it was when my nieces and nephews used to come and spend the night with me when I was married, I would make a pallet in the other room. We only had a 1-bedroom apartment. I didn't put my niece and nephews in bed with this man.
Right. I mean, most people even give up their own bed as well. Like, like when Maddie would go sleep, spend the time at her father's house. Like the wife made him sleep on a couch. And told him, no, you can't make a Maddie sandwich. Even though I don't think that under any circumstances that he meant that as though he wanted to do something untoward to his daughter. I don't believe that. But, like I said in that video, everybody wants to sleep with Maddie. I don't understand it. But he said, I wanted to make a Maddie sandwich. And his wife said, hell no, there's no Maddie sandwiches happening. You're going to sleep on a couch. She's going to sleep in a room with me. Just like I said, Jen Soto should have gave her room to her daughter. so she could have some privacy, so she could grow up with some normalcy. And Jen Soto should sleep inside the makeshift bedroom in the living room or in room number 4. It doesn't make any sense. You got abused, and because of your abuse, you can't hold down a job, you can't think straight, you can't do nothing, you got to take 1,000 pills.
You're on 100 medications.
But you would put your daughter in that circumstance.
Yeah.
You would put her in a bed with a dude that biologically, every freaking morning, he's going to wake up with a Woody. You didn't have them sleeping in the same bed, in a full-size bed. Shame. You making me, you riling me up. Look what you did. Shame on you. You riling me up.
I'm sorry. I love when you chop it up with us. We thank you so much. I just had to say that, and I said in the chat, I was like, I got to tell Strategic this because it's just bullshit. Poop, 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 poop. I'm sorry, that would be the curse.
Right.
But I thank you so much for your time, and God bless you and your family in every endeavor that you ever do, and we appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Thank you so much for calling, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Same to you.
All right, guys, I'm not taking any more calls. I'm shutting the calls down right now because I hear my son walking around. It's time to go do my thing. There's a few things I need to do. Also need to get ready, that special project I have set up for you guys later on to commemorate the New Year's. We got a special project that we're doing. So there's a lot to do today. I appreciate you guys immensely, man. It was a great call. All of the callers were amazing. Very informative. I love the fact the first caller, had so much insight into actual psychological diagnoses and stuff like that. I love the fact that the caller whose loved one is currently incarcerated in Florida gave us like a really in-depth personal opinion of their experience with the Florida Correctional Facility system and how inmates are treated. Love that. Love the next caller who's also a victim of SA who, just cannot fathom that Jen Soto would do what she did considering what she experienced. We have really good calls, and everybody else who called as well. We really appreciate you guys. You guys are great. You guys are amazing. Guys, oh man, I hope that this next year is going to be as fruitful and as, how should I say, emotionally and psychologically fulfilling as it has been sharing my time with you guys on the show so far. I hope you guys enjoy what we're doing here. I look forward to the next year that we can continue to doing it. And just please keep supporting the channel just by clicking on those shows and hitting those like buttons and leaving those comments like you guys are doing. Wow. Well, I'll see you guys a little bit later. We will be dropping a special for you guys. Strategic is out of here. Let me cue up that outro. And let me end the show without this background behind me. Perfect. I see you guys in the next one. Strategic is out of here. Peace.
Thank you.